Have you ever felt like you were sinking? Maybe it is a family crisis, a health scare, or just the weight of the world pressing down until you feel like you're drowning in deep water. We all know the story of Peter walking on the waves, but we often focus so much on his failure that we miss the greater miracle here. Today, in Matthew 14:22 through 33, we're discovering the one thing that determines whether we stay afloat or go under. If you're in the middle of a storm right now, this message might be for you. In the middle of the night, the disciples were in a boat, battered and tossed by the waves. They had been rowing against the wind for hours, exhausted, strained, and at their lowest point physically. Jesus came to them during the fourth watch of the night, that is between 3 and 6 a.m., the darkest and most desperate hour. This timing is no accident. Christ often waits until our human strength is completely spent before he reveals his power. He doesn't always show up to help us row harder. He shows us a completely different way to live, above the waves, not just surviving them. When the disciples first saw Jesus walking on the water, they cried out in fear, thinking he was a ghost. Isn't it true that in our cries, we often mistake God's movement for something scary? We become so accustomed to the storm being our only reality that when the solution arrives, we don't even recognize it. But Jesus immediately spoke, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." The same I am that spoke to Moses from the burning bush. He wasn't just saying, "It's me, your friend." He was declaring his authority as the creator over all of creation. Peter, hearing that voice, responded with a profound understanding of faith. "Lord, if it is you, command me to come out to you on the water." Peter knew a fundamental truth. You only move when Christ speaks. Faith isn't positive thinking or wishful hoping. It is obedience to a command. As Scripture teaches in Romans 10:17, faith comes by hearing the word. Peter's feet weren't resting on the water. They were resting on the word come. As long as his eyes were locked on Christ, the laws of nature didn't apply. He was standing on the word of Christ. Peter's success didn't depend on the weather. It depended on his focus. The moment he looked at the wind, the moment he let the facts of his situation outweigh the truth of Jesus' presence, he began to sink. In our lives, that wind might be a frightening bank account balance, a bad report from the doctor, chaos in the news, or anything overwhelming. If your focus is on the wind, you will sink. If you focus on the word, you will walk. The beauty of this story isn't just in the walking, it's in the rescue. When Peter cried out, "Lord, save me," Jesus didn't lecture him from a distance or wait for him to figure it out himself. He immediately reached out his hand and caught him. Even when your faith wavers, our Christ is close enough to touch. He is looking for people who are willing to get out of the boat, leave the safety of the world behind, and trust that if he says come, the water will hold us. The boat represents our comfort zone, our traditions, our bank accounts, our own efforts, the things we think keep us safe. But notice, the boat was just as much in the storm as the water was. The safest place for Peter wasn't in the boat. It was wherever Jesus was. We often cling to the boat because we fear the deep. Yet as Hebrews 12:2 urges, we must keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. When we stop staring at the depths of our problems and start gazing at the height of our King, we realize that the very storm meant to drown us is actually the path he is using to reach us. Today, Christ is still calling, "Come." The question is whether we will keep our eyes on him and step out, or stay in the boat, rowing under our own strength until we are utterly spent. Whatever storm you face right now, Remember, He is the I Am, present in the fourth watch, ready to catch you when you call. Fix your eyes on Jesus, obey His word, and step out.